CFL Combine one-on-one with Ottawa Redblacks head coach Bob Dyce. Bob, you may be the most important person in town this week because you have the first overall pick in this draft. What do you want to add with that selection?
Well, our thought has always been, in talking with Sean, is that we're going to work our board, and we'll see when we work through all these evaluations from this camp and all the film that we watch, and then we'll go from there. We're blessed in this being the situation, adding a guy like Desjarlane and having Jacob Ruby on the offensive line, and then got young players like Cyril and Zach Pelios in behind there that, whatever the position is, we feel we can just use that pick to take the best player available.
Is there any conversation about potentially trading back in the draft to add more capital?
Well, I think anytime you get a group of people like this together, there's always going to be conversations, right? And really, that's probably more so on Sean's plate than mine. I mean, we always talk about these things, but we're always going to do what's best for the team overall. And just like anything, it always depends on what's coming the opposite way.
So much of the CFL draft evaluation process is about whether a guy can play special teams. You're one of the best special teams minds in the CFL. When you're at an event like the Combine, how do you identify a great special teamer?
Well, one of the things I've always said about great special teams players is this: they have an intense, very high level of compete. And that's what you like about this camp. It puts the best of the best. And the majority of these guys, that's where they're going to cut their teeth. And so you get an opportunity to see these guys fight one-on-one. And now with how they've changed the process, you get to even evaluate them even further deeper. And you get a chance to talk to them even a little bit more. And so when you see them working on one-on-one, one of my favorite things is the special teams drill that they do. But for the most part, as a special teams coordinator, you're watching the other positions. It's just like when I'm watching draft film as a special teams coordinator, I like to watch how they play offensively and defensively, because that's where you're going to see what their fight level is like and see exactly, I don't know, cliche, but if they got that dog in them.
You've mentioned him already, but the biggest move of the offseason might have been you guys bringing in offensive guard Desjarlane after a stint in the NFL. You paid him a whole boatload of money to come to Ottawa. What makes him worth it?
Well, it's funny. I think Sean has always been clear, and both once I took the job, where we believe you really build a team starting with the offensive and defensive lines. And a talent like Drew doesn't come around all that often. Like for me, Sean had told me about him and the possibility that he may be available, and then having the opportunity to talk to Drew, and then watching the film of him play in the Grey Cup versus Hamilton, and then just conversing with him and seeing the type of person he is, and kind of that same dog and infectious aggressiveness that he plays with. That's physicality that we've tried to have on special teams in Ottawa, and that's what we want to bring to the whole team. And you have players like Drew and Jacob Ruby, like I mentioned earlier, leading the way along the offensive line of scrimmage. It helps with your quarterback play, it helps with your run game, and we want to be a physical team in Ottawa. And so a player like that is extremely valuable to us.
You added two pretty good offensive linemen in last year's draft, and Cyril Hogan-Sano and Zach Pelios. Do you anticipate one or both of them starting next season?
Well, really, if you look at the end of last year, Cyril was starting for us and did a really good job. And he kind of fits that same mentality of a fighter that I talk about, a guy who competes at a high level all the time. And Zach, now going into his second year, he's going to have every opportunity to become a starter. And really in both situations, it's in their hands and what they do with the opportunity, right? And so, but both those guys are very happy with their development and as they've worked forward, and that the natural progress would be for them to start.
Big addition to your offense in free agency is receiver Shaq Evans. He's mentioned he feels like he fell out of favor in Saskatchewan because of injuries. What can he bring to the table in Ottawa? Well,
in conversing with Shaq, in the free agent process, not really worried about the past and what happened in Saskatchewan. Looking at is what he brings to Ottawa. He's a very versatile, physical receiver who can get up the field and make the big plays. He can play both inside in the slot and at the short spot into the boundary. And, he's got great experience in this league. So really looking forward to seeing him bring his physical type of play and his explosive nature to our receiving core. I think it's, if you look around, obviously we got Jalen Acklin and Nate Bahar as veterans, but adding another veteran like Shaq really helps us out because we've got some younger guys in there as well.
Thanks for your time, Bob. Have a great combine.
Thank you very much.